Lisa from Mobile Tech Review, and today we're going to do a smackdown between two new tablets. Right here we have the Microsoft Surface RT, this is running Windows 8 RT, and the latest generation iPad, the iPad 4, the Retina Display iPad, whatever you want to call it. This is the one that just came out in late 2012. They both start at $499. We're going to look at them now. Alright, holiday season's approaching. You know you want to get yourself a tablet. By which one? You trust Microsoft? You like Apple? Everybody seems to, but how do you choose between these two? First off, you can notice that the size difference is not huge, but noticeable here in the height. The iPad being a 4:3 aspect ratio, it's taller, it's a little bit squarer, and the Surface tablet is longer this way. That's because this is a 10.6-inch tablet with the usual 16:9 widescreen aspect ratio, and like I said, Apple sticks with that 4:3 aspect ratio. The other big difference between these two is the resolution. With the iPad you have that now famous Retina Display, 2048 by 1536 pixels. That means a lot of pixels packed into a small area for very high pixel density. And this is 1366 by 768, much like your standard notebook computer in the 13-inch size range, sometimes even 15-inch. So you're talking about less clarity. Still, Microsoft pays a lot of attention to typography with Windows 8, just like Apple always does with their products. So I have to say the fonts look pretty good, but if you really want the most sharp-looking fonts, you're going to get that on the iPad. When we look at price, they both start at $499 for the tablets themselves. Now that gets you 16 gigs. With the iPad, it gets you 32 gigs on the Surface RT tablet. Aha! But here's the thing, Windows, you know how Windows is, it takes up some space on your hard drive or on your computer, doesn't it? This is still Windows, so it's taking up space on storage. So you're going to have about 16 gigs available. So in terms of the storage that you're getting for your $499, it ends up being about the same for storage that you can actually make use of. When it comes to the weight, they are both about 1.5 pounds. They're also similar thickness, 0.37 and 0.38 inches. Slim tablets, good looking. Build quality on both of these is superb. Apple, of course, makes very nice products with nice materials. Good looking, gorgeous design, really. Aluminum back here, high quality stuff, fit and finish is perfect, no creaky seams, no gaps, nothing like that. But the Surface is also a beautifully made product. Microsoft really went to town with this because they wanted it to be a showcase for Windows 8, Windows 8 RT. Vapor magnesium casing on this metal. Instead of having those rounded kind of edges like the iPad does, this goes for a very angular look. So you have very straight sides here, very industrial modern, but nice looking product. Again, perfect fit and finish on this. Everything is put together well, no creaks, no visible unsightly seams. And this has a little cool extra something. Really, this tablet is just ergonomically delightful, and if you've watched our video review of this, you know all about that. This has a metal pop-out kickstand, so no more having to buy a separate stand. Just handy, always with you. Makes life a lot easier. The one thing about it though, it is not adjustable angle, so this is a reasonably useful angle actually for doing most stuff, but if this angle doesn't suit you, well then you do have to go out and find a stand and close the cover, which makes a really nice sound when you close it. Speaking of such things as accessories, Microsoft likes to bundle this with the keyboard. You don't have to get it, but the touch keyboard here, or touch cover as it's called, really, it's something so brilliant you would almost think that Apple designed it. It's a lot like Apple's smart cover. It's just very thin, 3 millimeters, very light, weighs 8 ounces, and it functions not just as cover to protect the display, but it's got this touch-sensitive keyboard here. Now these keys don't move or anything like that, but they work surprisingly well, and it's actually quite comfortable to type on. And you even have a little trackpad here that supports Windows 8's gestures very well, better than some other Windows 8 computers that we've tried. And it's a magnetic attachment, so it just clamps on right here, viciously, almost. Very strong magnet. You can pick it up and carry it by this, and of course, cover is available in a whole bunch of wild, crazy colors. You can get black, you can get white, you can get magenta, you can get cyan. And for those of you who say, well, that's a real interesting keyboard there, but I like things that move, they also have a touch-type keyboard, of course $10 more, that actually has real clicky, moving keys. So this gets us into some of the design philosophy differences, and this is why I say that really these tablets are about as different as you could possibly get, other than the fact they cost the same, they're about the same size. This is really geared towards productivity, the Microsoft product. it runs Windows 8 RT. This is, in terms of what you're looking at, this is the same thing you're going to see if you buy a regular Windows notebook. You get the modern UI here, formerly called Metro, with the live tiles, and you've got access to the familiar Windows 7 style desktop here, only with flattened effect. It comes with MS Office 2013 RT, that's a home and student edition, so you get your Word, Excel, and PowerPoint, and OneNote as well. And we're not talking pared down versions of those applications that you usually see on mobile devices. We're talking, you get everything, the full Monty. There's only a few things missing, like the ability to use macros. Definitely a productivity machine, and that carries through the fact that it has a full USB 2.0 port that works with basic USB peripherals, keyboards, mice, game controllers, flash drives, hard drives, CD-ROM drives. Whereas with the iPad, you're looking at adapters to just get things like SD cards working with this, really not designed to be plugged in with a whole bunch of accessories the way Windows computers are. So that gets to the point here. What do you want to do with your tablet? Are you looking for something that's a laptop stand-in, but is instant on, is more portable, has better battery life? Well, that's going to be your Surface RT tablet. Or you're looking for something like the iPad, which is extremely turnkey, super duper easy to use. Somebody who doesn't even know how to use a Windows computer really can obviously learn how to use that. You just scroll through, tap on your icons, you're good. Connect to iTunes Store to download your content, to get applications. Very simple, so if you don't want to have to worry about things like Windows Update, because guess what, this is a computer here. It does run Windows Update. You will get Windows updates on this. It has Windows Defender to protect you from viruses and stuff like that. But the interesting thing is, because this does not run EXE's Windows RT, you won't get the wide array of viruses that you might be getting for full Windows computers that run on Intel or AMD CPUs, but I'm sure there's going to be some vulnerabilities that come across, so maintenance and care and feeding of this should be certainly a bit higher than it would be for the iPad. Microsoft's done a pretty good job with this. Windows Update is turned on by default. You cannot turn it off, and it automatically checks for updates in the background as you would expect, and it doesn't annoy you. It doesn't force you to reboot all the time. If it's not a real important security update, it just leaves it there and says, well, if you don't reboot in 5 days, we're going to remind you. So not too much of a hassle, but still. Now, applications. This is where those of you who are real proponents of Surface RT are going to get really grumpy, because it's a new platform. This only came out October 26, 2012, and started out with 3,500 applications before even launching, and we're already up to 5,000 applications a week and a half after launch, but still, that's nothing compared to the more than 250,000 applications that are available for iPad. Now, they both have app stores, and you can see what they look like here, and both of them are visually pleasing and fairly easy to use. Side scroll through here, you side scroll through everything on Windows RT, and you've got various categories here for just what's spotlighted, what's new, games, social, productivity. And a lot of the big things are here. We've got Hulu Plus, we've got Netflix, we've got Twitter and Facebook third-party applications, not first-party yet, which means not the ones made by those companies. We've got Evernote, but still, it's not a huge, huge selection that you're going to find on the iPad. And right now, and this certainly be interesting to see where it is a year from now, you know, there's a wild selection of great games for the iPad. If you want to play Dead Trigger, you got Dead Trigger. If you want to play any of several Need for Speed titles, you got it. With this guy right here, the games are a little bit sad right now. Now, this is Microsoft, and they have that whole Xbox initiative behind us, so this is probably going to improve. But no, there's no Dead Trigger here. There's no Need for Speed yet. Will it come? Need for Speed probably will. But we've got Jetpack, Joyride, Angry Birds here, Reckless Racing, and those are really the sexiest titles that are available right now. So if you're looking for something to buy, get into gaming particularly right now, clearly the iPad, even an Android, has an advantage over the Surface RT right now. Assuming games do come, where the Surface RT is going to have an advantage, and so do some Android tablets that have USB full-size ports, it's the fact that you can plug in and use a game controller with this. Like we plugged in our Xbox wired game controller and use it absolutely no problem at all. And with the iPad, still clearly not going to be using wired USB controllers. And there are some Bluetooth controllers out there, gamepads, but it's up to the app really to support those or not. So again, that gets back to the different focus of these two. With the RT, it's really more about productivity. It's about having Office with you anywhere, full Office. Evernote, some of those business applications that are useful are right on there. With the iPad, you've got third-party Office suites. Of course, there are words and rumors about Office coming to the iPad, but will it be as full a version as we see on the Surface? Probably not so much. It's a lot easier to get your stuff on and off of this because you have that USB port and you can stick in your flash drive, so you can use file sharing like Box. That's another important thing too. We have Box.net clients for this, we have Dropbox, we have all sorts of stuff. On RT we get SkyDrive, and pretty much that's it right now. Dropbox is supposed to be coming, not quite here yet, hopefully it'll be soon. But, this brings us to the web browser. And you can see, speaking of the web browser, they both render quite well. They're both very responsive, very fast. Two of the best mobile browsers right here, IE10 on Surface and Safari on the iPad. But this is full IE10 here. Now you can either access it from the live tile, or you can access it from the desktop and resize your windows and have multiple browser windows open if you want. But it has Adobe Flash. It's just more powerful. So a lot of applications right now really are just handy-dandy portals to websites, and that includes applications like Hulu, for example. If you want to go to Hulu on the iPad, you're going to have to get the Hulu Plus app and pay a monthly subscription. If you want to go to Hulu on Surface RT, you just point your web browser at Hulu. It's got that Flash player built in, and you can watch free Hulu, no problem. Of course, if you have Plus, you can also look at the Plus content. So for those apps that say you want to use Dropbox right now, you can just go and use the web interface for Dropbox, and this is true for Pulse and other applications. So part of the reason we have a bazillion applications for Android and for iOS is actually to make up for the fact that their browsers are not as capable as having something like full IE10. Both of these tablets have front and rear cameras. The front camera is designed primarily for video chat, 1.2 megapixel FaceTime HD camera on the iPad 4th generation with Retina Display, 720p front-facing camera on the Surface RT. Both do a very good job. Both handle low-light situations very well. For using something like Skype or FaceTime, certainly they're up to the task. Now the back cameras, and that's what we're looking at right now through the lenses of the back cameras, that's where they really vary. The one on the back of the Surface RT is no better than the one on the front, honestly. It's fairly low resolution, it takes fairly noisy pictures, and you have relatively few settings right here. You can change your camera back and forth. We've got some camera options, not too much here. What we're doing with the microphone input, resolution, switching back and forth with video. Here also a very simple interface, but a very capable 5 megapixel camera with backside illuminated sensor and a fast f2.4 lens. Now it's a 5 megapixel, it's a lot like the iPhone 4 in quality, but that's not bad, is it? You might actually take some pictures or 1080p video that you find worthy of sharing. With the Surface, not so much. I think it's really there just so you can switch between front and back cameras when video chatting more than anything else. Now how about music playback, a popular use for mobile devices? We have the familiar iTunes here and the iTunes music player going. Reasonably visually attractive, especially if you go for the album view here. And here we have the, again, live tile, sort of like Zune if you've used Zune, interface, also Xbox Music, and you can stream your stuff from your Xbox collection, or if you had a Zune account, you can do that. Obviously with iTunes, you've got everything from your iTunes library and cloud streaming from your iTunes iCloud storage as well. Now, when it comes to sound quality, stereo speakers on the Surface RT, very nice quality, really very good separation, particularly if you're watching movies. You can hear the sound effect separation going on. The iPad with Retina Display, your good old-fashioned mono speaker there. So in terms of sound quality, the RT wins. In terms of volume, the iPad wins. The RT is not very loud. The iPad is fairly loud without being shrill and harsh. We'll test out some music just to see. So now we're streaming a song from our Xbox account, so you can hear the quality of the music. And by the way, you can use the keyboard to adjust the volume. You can see we're about 78%. Nice quality, sounds good, but not super duper loud. We're going to play the same thing on the iPad. Come away with me. And we've got it set about the same volume. Much louder, but mono. Now how about video playback? We've got the same 1080p MPEG-4 high-profile trailer loaded on both. The Avengers going on here. Both can play it absolutely no problem. Built-in HDMI out on the Surface RT. With the iPad, you've got to buy an adapter from Lightning to HDMI if you want to output that resolution. But we gave the iPad the thumbs up for actually natively supporting 1080p, whereas this obviously is only 720p resolution for the built-in display. We'll try the same video on the iPad.
Get ready.
Again, it's louder, certainly. Plays it fine.
An idea to bring together.
With both of these guys, you can stream Amazon Prime content if you want to. You use the web browser, since it has, again, Adobe Flash support on the Surface RT tablet, and for the iPad there is an application for that. How about battery life? Both of these are running on mobile CPUs, which means good battery life. Selling point for the Surface RT over regular Surface Pro tablets, in fact, is that the Tegra 3 CPU does have good battery life. And this, we've been averaging about 8.5 hours of actual mixed use to 9 hours, which is pretty darn good. Now, the latest generation iPad 4, we've been seeing about 9.5 to 10. It's actually improved from the iPad 3 or the first Retina iPad, so a little bit more stamina still going for the iPad. In terms of built-in applications, they both have email clients that support all sorts of accounts, no real problem there. No Outlook on this. You're going to use the built-in email client, which is fairly friendly, but it doesn't have all the business features of Outlook on here. Obviously, we have music players, we have video players. This has a lot more content apps loaded. You've got sports apps, you've got news apps, all these things provided by Microsoft. Beautiful typographic layout. Apple lets you find from the many applications available in the App Store the applications that you want for consuming that kind of content, news, sports, weather, information, that kind of stuff. On both of these you get good calendar applications, good contact applications, again, ones that are capable of syncing with cloud services, Exchange, Gmail, all that sort of stuff. Both obviously come with a web browser built in. You get mobile Safari on the iPad, as we mentioned, you get IE 10 on the RT. So you've got a whole bunch of starter apps there, a little extra loading of content stuff here, and you get the Office preloaded on that. And both of them have maps. You get Bing Maps on, surprise, no surprise there, on the Surface RT, and you get Apple Maps, for better or worse, on the iPad. Now, neither of these has a GPS built in. They use Wi-Fi triangulation if you buy the Wi-Fi only model, the iPad that is. The iPad, of course, is available with a 3G, 4G LTE option. The Surface does not have that option, so if that's important to you, having a data connection anywhere when you're far away from a Wi-Fi hotspot, you're either going to have to use your smartphone's mobile hotspot, use a dedicated mobile hotspot, or say, no Surface RT for me, thank you. Now you can read ebooks with both of these Kindles available on both platforms. We're still waiting for Nook to show up on RT. It hasn't showed up yet, but Barnes & Noble said it is coming. There's some third-party readers. A greater selection of ebook reading applications, just like everything else right now for the iPad. I would personally pick the iPad any day if I wanted something that was going to do a lot of time as an ebook reader. The 4:3 aspect ratio is just so well suited. When you move this to portrait mode, it's comfortable to hold, it's doable. It's the same aspect ratio as an 8.5 by 11 page. And you can see here just a very nice book-like presentation. Great cover there. A pleasure to read on. So that's iBooks, a free download from Apple. Nice app to get you going. Works with EPUB. You can sideload on this guy if you want, which means if you have your own EPUB books without DRM, you can put them on. And you can also buy books from Apple if you want. No built-in e-reader here, nothing from Microsoft just yet on that. So again, you're going to be using Kindle or some of the third-party apps. Pickings are a little bit slim right now, but just in terms of the aspect ratio on this, and the ergonomics just get a little bit weird. It's a particularly long and narrow tablet like this, so yeah, not quite so comfortable to hold. A little bit weird to have this form factor. But you could do it, certainly. But the Retina Display, oh my goodness, the text is just so sharp. So again, if you're buying this with one of the big purposes in life being an e-reader, I would pick the iPad with Retina Display. So I'm going to keep bringing this up because it really is the big difference. In the end, right now, iPad, totally about content consumption. There's an app for just about every kind of content you could want to consume. Lots of different ebook readers. There's Hulu Plus app, there's Netflix app. Of course, Hulu Plus and Netflix are also available for RT, but you get what I mean. A wealth of apps. With this has more of an enterprise focus, you might say, or not so much enterprise, just as somebody who wants to get work done, small business owner, anybody who's looking to replace their laptop with something with better battery life, smaller. You can get to a lot of the same content, but you've got to go through the web browser. So again, do you want a computer-like experience where you do most things that you want to do online using a web browser, or do you want something that's really just brain dead simple to use, no maintenance, then it's the iPad. So there you have it. The new iPad versus the Microsoft Surface RT. Honestly, other than the fact that they're around 10-inch tablets and they cost about the same, you couldn't get more different, could you? I'm Lisa from Mobile Tech Review. Be sure to read our review of both of these products, watch our video reviews of these products, and subscribe to our YouTube channel.